It's time for the Fort Mill Magazine podcast.
It's October 17th, 2012. I'm Tracy Roman.
And I'm Emily Wyatt. How's it going?
Good.
Good.
We were having some interesting conversations about cell phone annoyance.
So I got
calls.
I was working out and I got 5 texts from a specific person. And I went to call her back and no answer.
So I guess it wasn't an emergency.
Obviously not.
But that's what you think.
Right. When you get that many texts, and I mean, obviously I could read them and tell that it wasn't but when it says specifically call me back to discuss this further or whatever, you just kind of, when you call them back, you expect them to be awaiting your call. No.
Yeah. Because that was her request.
Right. Not so much. So then you're like, great, now you're going to call me back when I'm busy again.
Right. Because that was my minute, my window.
Right. I'm driving home now. That's what you have. That's what I can give you.
Right.
Yeah, that's my rant.
Well, everybody deserves to rant.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Yeah. So,
That's today's pet peeve.
today's pet peeve is don't send somebody back-to-back text messages.
And then ask them to call you, and then
And
don't
then-
answer the phone.
Don't answer the phone. Bad on you.
Very.
Well, we've got such an exciting group of people coming here today. Can't tell you.
Fellow broadcasters.
Yes. Fellow media people.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're very excited about it.
CN2 News Team. I'll go ahead and open that box for you.
Yeah, there you go. Pandora's box just opened. Emily's box. No, that sounds gross.
Doesn't have the same ring to it. Sounds like a bad adult store.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not.
It's not. But yes, we have a great show. Great show planned today. And we want to mention our sponsor for this here podcast.
We do. Providence Chiropractic.
Yeah, and we're so excited for them too because, they're a brand new business. And right here in Fort Mill, we love Fort Mill business.
We do.
And they have their grand opening scheduled for this Saturday from 11 to 3. And their location is 3071 Highway 21, right here in Fort Mill. And again, it's Providence Chiropractic and Dr. Harden, Dr. Jessica Harden over there. And so we're so excited that she is opening up her chiropractic office right here in Fort Mill. And we're super excited that she has decided to sponsor our podcast today.
Yeah.
So, Emily, you've got the phone number.
Yes, it's 803-835-0444. And again, they're not open until this Saturday, which is October 20th. But after that, give them a call and get your spine fixed.
That's right. Get your adjustment. Get adjusted.
Right.
Not an attitude adjustment unless you need that too, but definitely get your spine adjusted. And
go ahead.
And make sure that you go on Saturday between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. They're going to have free food, a bouncy house for the kids, games, and music. That's always good.
Wow, that's an event.
Yeah. So thanks again to Providence Chiropractic.
So you want to start the show?
Yeah, let's get it going.
All right.
Today we have very fabulous and special guests with us.
We'll come back.
Yes, we want you to come back. We could have you as a weekly guest. We'd be okay with that.
I just love the word fabulous. We don't use it enough.
And that's Laura Brimonde with CN2 News.
So glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and Allison Rauch is here as well. She's actually filming us, and I'm kind of freaking out about it a little bit.
Yeah, we're already on
You
Facebook.
look fabulous.
Yeah, we're already on camera.
Editing's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is exciting. Laura Bremonde is the news director and co-anchor over at CN2 News, and Allison is the woman about town. She's the reporter and photographer and just does it all.
We have a great team, and she is one of our valued members. And Lucas McFadden, who anchors the show with me, unfortunately couldn't be here. He had the nerve to be working and turning a story for the day.
I know. How
got
dare
a little busy with that. But we work hard, and I said, okay, well, I'll go hold down the fort, but we'll miss you.
Yeah,
he's a good
he
guy.
was supposed to share the mic with me today because he knows I like to sit very close to him.
He has such a deep voice. We always tease when we go out on field shoots that we really only need to wear one microphone. So I wear it, and he stands next to me, and that usually works because
Right.
his voice is so loud and carries.
Isn't that funny? I feel like I'm the big mouth in our group. Emily has to turn the volume down whenever I'm talking.
Oh, no, you guys are great.
No.
Well, you guys have a pretty big milestone that we're going to be talking about today.
We are very excited.
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years, which really is phenomenal. So 20
is.
years ago, CN2 took to the airways. And when we look back at those first tapes, you have to chuckle a little and be really impressed, too, with what they were able to do back then and the before and after. I mean, obviously, times have changed, technology has changed, and
Right.
you look back and you're like, wow, 20 years we've been doing this for our community, and that's a great thing.
Yeah. Well, like, what is the biggest thing, the biggest change that, because, now that you guys have been going back and reviewing,
Yeah.
what has really been the biggest change with CN2 News from 20 years ago to
Ooh,
today?
Yeah, well, it's funny because if you just look at any of our pictures from, say, 20 years ago,
I was going to say, other than the hair and the clothes.
there's
Yeah.
a good before and after. So visually, there's just a lot of changes from, you're right, the hairstyles, the clothes, all of it, the technology as TV stations transition to HD and do different things like that. There's a crispness and clarity that comes. There's graphics, that get improved. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, they went out to do good news stories. And that's what really still trying to do today is to inform people in the Tri-County of what's going on and teach them about things that they might not hear about otherwise. I mean, there's no other local TV news product. We are the option, and we love that people have tuned in for 20 years.
Right, right. So what was the date? It was in the 80s.
Yeah, it's like 82. Yeah.
1982. So big hair, right?
Right. What was I wearing? That's a whole different
Shoulder
thing.
pads,
Shoulder
maybe.
pads, the push-down socks. I think, were we folding our jeans then?
Maybe.
20 years would be 92, not 82.
Oh, thank
92?
you. That's why I'm in journalism and not math.
I know. No, we're not good with math. Yeah, I was thinking it was the 80s because it's 2000. No, because we're 2012.
Yeah, I still think it's the year 2000.
So-
It's not.
1992?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was October 26, 1992.
There you
Well,
go.
let's jump a decade. What were we wearing then?
We still kind of had big
thing.
hair,
Yeah.
right?
Like really high ponytails with the really big scrunchies and the higher like ankle socks
Was the Spice
with
Girls
sundresses.
big then? Are you
No,
a
Spice Girls is a
fan?
little bit
Well,
later
it's
than
funny
92.
on our special that we're doing that's going to air on the 25th, actually, so the day before our anniversary. Trey at the movies, so Trey Maggio, he's going to do a look back at the movies that were really popular,
that's
20
cool.
years ago. So we're really excited when you start looking back. What were the news stories that they were hitting on then? Where are those if we wanted to update them today? What's going on with those stories now? Things
Right.
like the railroad. There's definitely stories that are still fresh today in downtown Rock Hill. And, it really is just tremendous that Comporium has continued to offer this service
Right.
to our community.
Right. Now, how was the format changed from when you first started?
Well, I remember, and we'll show a clip of this on our special that's going to air on the 25th, but we did weather internally at the time, I think literally using, felt boards. I think, they were cutouts and they threw up the clouds and the rain today and the 7-day and all of that.
Wow.
So that is pretty interesting to see. We've been in touch with some of those first anchors. So we're also going to hear from them on that special. Bethany Kaiser was really the first anchor who was with CN2 News. Even before we did a 30-minute format, we were sort of doing a headline news format, and it was sort of inserts into sort of CNN, headline news, that kind of thing, just 5-minute clips here and there. That's kind of how it started. And
Right.
John Barnes and Bill Beatty with Comporium were really the ones who spearheaded this idea, and then it's just grown over the years. So to see that growth and to see I suppose if today we're not touting our horn, I don't know when we will. So, to see the awards that we've won in recent years, it really is neat to see just that it's continued to progress. It never fell flat. It's just continued to grow. And I don't know really with any company what more you could ask for.
Right. Well, and speaking of awards, you guys recently went to Atlanta, right? And that was for...
We did, for the Emmys.
Emmys.
Yeah, and I got to present down there and feel very glamorous and, my
You are
off-the-shoulder
glamorous.
dress. Oh, thank you. And fabulous, right?
Fabulous.
But we were nominated for an Emmy for our newscast. You enter really one newscast. You sort of pick your best of the year, say. And
Okay.
CN2 had never entered before, and it just sort of came up, and we thought, well, we know this was a strong, show, and let's send it. And we were one of basically, 4 finalists in the entire Southeast. So I think there were 20-ish, say, entries, and of those, I think 4 kind of got nominations. And we didn't end up taking home the Emmy, but just to be nominated really was
That's
exceptional.
huge.
And Allison, who's left the camera for the moment and is sitting next to me, she came down. And for some of our, Allison and then some of our other newer reporters, it really was quite an experience. We had a table full, and it was fabulous.
Yes. And
Did you
y'all
feel
were
fabulous?
beautiful.
Oh, I felt and looked fabulous.
You did. I saw the pictures.
We said that we weren't the winners of the Emmy, but we were the winners of the after party. We danced and sang and had a great time well into the morning. So it was just a great networking opportunity to be among some of the best of the media.
And to get our name out there. And, it was interesting. There was a former anchor a sports anchor in Charlotte who now works for a station in Atlanta. And he used to live in Fort Mill in Baxter Village.
Really?
And he saw CN2. I guess he heard me being introduced was the first time CN2's name, was mentioned.
Right.
And he turned to his wife and he said, CN2? Like Rock Hill CN2? And they realized, yes, like this is, CN2 News is in the big time now. And and he came up afterwards and said that he understood it because he'd still been living in Fort Mill, in the last few years, and he saw, how well the show was going, and really was pleased that it was continuing to grow and get that kind of recognition. So that was neat.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So we had Lucas down there, and the spouses came down, and it was a nice night. And again, great that Comporium supported us going down and encouraged us to enter. And we actually have also just been nominated for RTNDAC, which is the Radio and Digital Television News Association of the Carolinas. And
wow,
this
that's
weekend,
a mouthful.
I know.
Yeah.
Only leave it to TV people to come up with that. So, in radio, I suppose. But so this weekend at the Speedway is when the awards banquet is for that. So that station's just in North and South Carolina that compete versus the whole Southeast. And we were once again nominated for Best Newscast and also Best Special Feature Report, which was the 10-year look back on 9/11. So that was a show that we had put a lot of time and energy into and entered that and had, again, 2 great nominations. So hopefully people are enjoying the work we're doing, and, we feel really proud about what we're putting out there.
Yeah.
It's very unique to what the stories that we create. We don't have a computer who tells us the news that's going on. We have to generate those ideas from the people who write into us or call us or what we hear in the community. So that's why we're just so hyper local, and we enjoy telling those local stories and being out there in the community.
Yeah, I think people are surprised, if they've toured stations or different things up in Charlotte or wherever, that they might be a bigger facility, but we do not get AP wires, so we have none of this coming into us. It really wouldn't make sense. We're generating the local content, so we'd be kind of providing it to the wire service, if anything.
Yeah.
So, if we lose a story, we need to find a story. I always say there's no news in the newsroom. So, we have our morning news meeting, and out the door, my reporters are going.
Right. Yeah, and that is a different concept. I mean, I interned at a couple of TV stations, and they always had like the police scanners going and all that stuff, and it was definitely a tense kind of environment.
It's interesting because I always describe it as your day really builds up. So most people don't know, but get to work and you kind of have a pile on your desk and you know what you need to get through and you kind of accomplish things throughout the day. Well, ours really builds up. So we're ramping all day. So about the time many people are getting tired, maybe at work, 4 o'clock, or looking at the clock, well, we are just going. I mean, that's game on time.
Right.
And so, the last scripts are coming in, the makeup's getting on, everyone's getting out to the studio, and we have a show every night that we put on. So the end of your day always really goes by quickly, and it's fun, and it's fresh, and each day is a new day, and you get to do the best job you can with the product that day. and then you get to do it again the next day. So
Right.
let go whatever wasn't great. We're all human, so if anyone ever sees a typo or things like that, I always say just imagine how many we caught that day.
Right.
But it really is. It's human. I mean, there
It
are a lot
is.
of people doing these jobs, and they really are working hard.
And it's very similar to how we work here, and I think that's why we feel like y'all are kindred spirits for us,
Well, you do beautiful work.
Because we thank you, but we work the same way. It's all about our readers emailing us with story ideas or just being out, out and about and talking to people. Just like when Allison, is out there talking to people and they give her suggestions or whatever. It's the same kind of thing for us, and it really ties you to the community, and people appreciate it. When a grandfather writes in and says, my son is the basketball hoop, champion or whatever, and normally they would never get any play on that, but we pick up on that stuff, and you guys do the same thing. You pick up on those little stories and run with them, and people find it endearing.
And it's great, Tracy, because I was able to come and do the story with you guys when you first kicked off y'all's magazine 2 years ago. So it's just great to see the connection as to, CN2 and the Fort Mill magazine, and just staying connected. And you guys are just have the same goal we do, just reporting the good news and community news.
Right.
Yeah, because we always joke, but it really is true. I mean, Charlotte stations will come down when something's on fire.
Oh, yeah.
There are exceptions, but for the most part, what we're covering would never get any airtime or, words in a magazine. Charlotte is too big.
Right.
So to break away, to have local magazines, television, radio, all here in our community, it really is tremendous.
Yeah. And working with, small budgets and things like that. Like we really work on a shoestring, and I'm sure that you guys feel the same way about what you do. And you really have to become even more creative when you don't have like big budgets to do stuff. So when you think back at like 20 years ago, how they were doing things, and now, is it still pretty much like the same kind of, but you have a lot more technology,
Yeah,
like
I
you
think
mentioned
certain
there.
things have grown. One of the software programs, this might not be that interesting to people, but that we use is called iNews. And when I started coming up on 5 years ago, we were using really Word and Excel to do our rundowns. And it worked, and they got it done. But the difference in the capacity of what we are able to do now, the changes we can make at the last minute, the catches, the read times, just all these things that are tracking the time of our show, we can get in so much more news because of the technology that's kind of grown with us. So that was, so it's been exciting for me. And when I interviewed with Comporium now a number of years ago, they were still investing in what is, a small community television station, but they were still believing in this product and willing to invest. And that's been nice to see, because we know in this economy, most TV stations, my husband works for Charlotte, a station up in Charlotte, and regardless of where you are, most traditional affiliate stations, they are handheld and capped by ad dollars, period. At the end of the day, if the car company's not doing well, they're not going to spend as much money on advertising. That's a luxury, expenditure. Right. So we haven't been held to that as tightly, I guess. We've been able to continue doing good work and having the support to do it. So that's been exceptional, really, to see.
Right.
And, too, with technology 20 years ago versus today, our cameras were huge and they were heavy, and sometimes it required 2 people to be out on a shoot. And now I'm what's considered a one-man band, which means I do everything. I set the camera up, and we don't have the brick batteries anymore. That's what we joked that they were called. But so technology, it is changing so that the faster paced lifestyle that we have now can be adapted to in Twitter and Facebook.
I was going to say, and that's not even getting into social media. So we might do one newscast a day, but you're still a 24-hour business. So, what used to be just the CNNs of the world were 24 hours, and even your local affiliates, they would come on at 5 and 6 and then 10 or 11, and you'd all, in a newsroom, we were competitive, and I was working in Texas, and I remember we'd all turn on the TVs at 6 o'clock to see what everyone was leading with. Now, you really know that by the time 6 o'clock rolls around, because everyone's already posted their big stuff throughout the day. So that's really been an interesting dynamic of the industry. It takes a little getting over, like, do we put this out there because then your competitors see it? But yes, you do, because that's just what we do now. And so it's been an interesting sort of change, even in my dozen plus years in the business, it really has changed. Even going out, we had we had scanners and walkie-talkies and two-way radios in the car. Now my reporters are on smartphones.
Right.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, literally, you could be out of two-way range and you were finding the nearest payphone. I was doing a live shot via payphone. I know.
And don't you think that, technology has advanced, but it hasn't taken it didn't slowly, gradually happen over 20 years. It's how long ago was it that you switched from tape to digital? It's been pretty recent, right?
Yeah.
Changing
when
the cameras.
When I started, we were still going tape to tape.
Yeah.
And even the cameras. So these old beta tapes people can sort of imagine. And now we're just shooting on memory sticks.
Right.
It really is wild and exciting and hard to imagine. If we say 20 years from now, you just want to keep up, but you have no idea what's coming.
Right.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
Yeah. And
especially our little people, they'll be teaching us. My little 18-month-old will be like, "Hey, Mama."
I know. Because
this is how you turn it on.
The little ones are finding out how to work with iPads. Little 2-year-olds are maneuvering through iPads, differently than somebody like me, because it's just intuitive,
Yep. I was just talking with some folks over at the Children's Learning Center, Flexible Learning Center, excuse me, and they have 4-year-olds who are using iPads. And that's what they're learning on. I said, how early, do you feel like you can start? They're like, in moderation, but early,
Yeah.
I really think the sky is the limit in the next 20 years for us and, other media outlets in general. And we're just excited to be doing all of these giveaways and fun stories. And we hope that everybody else is excited for us as we are for ourselves.
Yeah. We hope people get cable so they can tune in and see all the great stuff we're doing. Because we really are only on Comporium Cable. It's channel 102.
Right.
And we start at 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock is our newest newscast every night. And people wonder about that because it does loop. So I get why it might be confusing.
Right.
But 6 o'clock, if we say breaking news, it is still breaking news. If there's a wreck on the interstate, if you're tuning in at 6 o'clock and we say traffic is backed up, it is still backed up. Now, if you're tuning in at 10 p.m., understand we, got through that newscast at 6 o'clock.
Right.
And then it loops until basically 6 p.m. the next night. And the only exceptions are we let WIS insert a number of their newscasts out of Columbia. And the idea is that people will really get great statewide coverage between our local news and then Columbia's WIS. People who live in South Carolina will get a sense of what's happening in their state and their community. Whereas, again, Charlotte largely focuses on North Carolina news. They'll venture down. But there's a lot happening that matters to you if you live in York, Lancaster, and Chester counties that you're not going to learn about otherwise.
Right. Now, is that the format that you see continuing, or at some point will they add in another newscast, like do a morning and then an evening?
I think anything's possible. I think we'll just sort of have to see where that heads. But I think what's interesting about the industry in general is where it's all heading sort of digitally.
Yeah.
So, what used to be even newspaper and TV and radio, we're now all doing stuff online. So how is that, we all have that commonality now. So down the road, what platform, really will the internet be? We know already how much news people get from there, and we're really active on Twitter and our Facebook page, which is CN2 Rock Hill. If you want to like us there, we'd love it. And we also are on CN2.com. But that really is sort of just a smattering of what we're touching in our newscast. We don't put everything out there. We focus on our newscast first. We only have so many players in my shop, and everyone's running around and trying to turn their stories for the newscast that night. But in addition, Allison or different people are also tweeting and putting up what they're working on in a little bit. But if you want the full, story, if you really want to know what's going on, really watching the newscast is the best way to do that.
Right. And then the video feed for each story then shows up on your website the next day, and then it also goes on Facebook, correct?
We put some on.
Okay.
So we don't put everything out there. Again, we're hoping people, sort of have an incentive to maybe get their cable and tune in that way.
Right.
But we do try and put some biggies out there. We try and put some good interviews, anything that we really would benefit, especially the nonprofits. These are folks who have no voice, otherwise. We know that, and they can't afford, great advertising. So we went out and did the Children's Attention Home Run for Attention last weekend. Allison and I emceed that, and we were out there. So, that story we'll put on the web. But there's a lot that's not necessarily out there also that, including just sort of the fun banter, Lucas is a pretty funny dude. I'm sorry
he's hilarious.
I know.
He's my buddy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So we have fun, and you really don't don't. When you cut the stories independently, you lose sort of the fun feel a little bit. You know, if we put our top story on, that's, you know, typically a little harder or whatever's going on. But as we, you know, weave into our newscast and we get our sports director out there, Rob Jones is a great bit of fun. And, you know, we're all out there interacting. It really is fun to tune in. And we feel so fortunate to be able to do what we do.
We'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor one more time, Providence Chiropractic. They're located at 3071 Highway 21 in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Their phone number is 803-835-0444. And again, they're opening this Saturday, October 20th, and it's going to be a true ribbon cutting event. There's going to be a bouncy castle for the kids. There's going to be all kinds of stuff for everyone to enjoy. So everyone should go and check it out. And we want to thank Providence Chiropractic for sponsoring this podcast once again. Now back to the show.
Most live shops, for example, the affiliates, Lucas, when I snagged him back to CN2, he'd started there a number of years before. He spent some time at WIS in Columbia. He was their morning live shot reporter. So you're going to work at 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning. You know, he's a new dad now. You can't have a great lifestyle with that kind of schedule. And so CN2 for both of us, I think, with families has really been, you know, a neat thing, too, to have found.
Right. Yeah, I always enjoy seeing your Facebook pics of your little man, the mini man.
My little man. Mini
with
Pete.
his curls.
It's so funny because I think of myself as a curly-haired person because, you know, the majority of your life, you probably wear your hair just sort of naturally, you know, out of the shower. Right. But when I ventured into TV, this is sort of a digress story.
I've never seen you in curls.
I'll have to post one on Facebook. So when I got my first TV job in Lubbock, Texas, I wore it curly, nape of my neck, long ponytail. I thought, well, I don't know what to do with this head of hair. This is what I'll do. Mom said, just be like Jane Pauley, you know, wear it in the back of your neck. And that's what I figured. And so I happened to go to a salon one day, and I was slightly, you know, going shorter, cutting it gradually, and she kind of blew it out. And I went into work that day. So I have really seriously curly hair. I mean, people wouldn't believe me, but I really do. And I have very thick hair. So she blew it out, and I walked into work, and my boss at the time said, I want you to wear it like that from now on. And I said, Rick, literally, figuratively, I don't know how to do this.
That's right.
I said, if you want to pay for me to go get it done, I will go get it done. And probably for 2 years, that's basically what happened. And on the off days where, like, I didn't have the salon, I was terrified. Poor Keith, my husband, I was calling him into the bathroom, having him hold sections while I'm trying to, like, roll brush my hair. This was, like, pre the flat iron. Once that Chi flat iron came out into the world, life changed for me. Life changed for me. Yeah. But before that, you know, humidity, I mean, I was a reporter. I'm running around with this head of curls. And so people see Ethan, and they say, oh, where did the curls come from? And I laugh because I'm like, well, me and every other relative in this family.
Right.
And but I blow it out straight, so people don't get to see it all the time.
Yeah, we didn't know that you were
one of the
closet
things you
curly.
did, closet curly. We're going to do a funny behind the scenes on the 25th show. Also, like some things you didn't know about us. So maybe that one needs to be on there.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah,
I did a story years ago. Now we go to Salon de Monde to get our hair done, and they had a product, this Brazilian straightening treatment. So I did sort of a before and after with that about 3-4 years ago now. Okay. So people who tuned into that show realized, and I've got comments for a while after that. They're like, wow.
So
wow.
That needs to be one that you guys revisit because I want to see it.
It could be, yes. It's a lot of hair.
That's good. You can't complain about having a lot of hair.
No.
You know?
Well, I've come to appreciate it as we get off the subject of our 20th anniversary and talk about my hair. It's just great stuff. But I've come to appreciate it because what you do get with the curls is good body. Yes. So when I straighten my hair now, this is all the men have tuned out. They're like, "What on earth did this show turn into?" No, they're still listening
because they love our sexy voices.
I hope so. Yes, I hope so. But when you blow out curly hair, you do get some good height and body from it. Whereas I hear from my straight-haired companions,
that never happens.
Yeah.
No, I have thin straight hair, and that's not a thing I have.
And people say when it rains, like their hair gets flatter, like people with straight hair, and I laugh. I'm like, mine gets so much bigger. It just grows.
I grow like a fro.
Yeah. You and me. You and me.
But it's good. It all works out. Well, back to the giveaways.
Yeah.
I want to know, like the 20. You mentioned 20 days.
Yeah,
of
so
giveaways?
we've been into our 20 days of giveaways is starting at the beginning of October through the 26th. We're giving away a giveaway every day, and you just need to tune in and then jump on our Facebook page and either like the giveaway that day or just shoot us an email to news@cn2.com, which is also a great way just to send us story ideas too.
Right.
But some of these giveaways are tickets. Some of them are, we gave away a balloon ride this last week, a hot air balloon ride.
Oh, that's nice.
And Lucas
Yeah,
is
that'd
going
be
to go
cool.
up with them, actually. That's down in Lancaster, so that's coming up.
This evening, this
Yeah.
Wednesday evening, is a digital picture frame. So
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
neat. And then our big
Gift
finale,
baskets.
gift baskets, umbrellas, some fun stuff like that. But
Right.
some biggies, too. I mean, some tickets to some really neat events, including the big finale is going to be 20 months of free digital cable.
Oh, no, that's
so
big.
Wow.
20 months, for our 20 years. So that is tremendous. So it was
Yeah.
really fun to get with our, other folks around Comporium and come up with some of these ideas. And we've been brainstorming for a while, and I hope people have enjoyed sort of being a part of the celebration, and then tune in on the 25th and 26th of October for kind of the big finale when it all kind of comes together. And we appreciate you so much, taking note of our celebration and bringing us out here. To your
We
lovely-
love you guys,
lovely
and
place.
we'll do whatever to promote you. I mean, you guys have certainly helped promote us, so
Well, it's
we're all about
it's so
it.
neat, like you said. There are more stories to tell in this community than anyone can hit. So if we have more entities that are going out and reaching out and telling these stories, it gets people excited about where they live.
Yeah.
Which at the end of the day is really what it's all about. You should be proud of where you are. And the husband and I moved a lot for our jobs, but we love it here. My parents are building in Fort Mill, and it's a nice feeling to feel like done.
Yeah,
Yeah, throw away the boxes.
It
Rock
is. It's
Hill.
important.
Yeah, Rock Hill and Fort Mill is really a great place to live, work, and play. I mean, Rock Hill's kind of pushing themselves to that outdoor lovers fantasy world type thing. I mean, it's
That's
just great.
true.
Yeah, I was at a breakfast this morning at Brakefield at the Riverwalk, and it was the mayor inviting some of the key leaders in the community to talk about what he really envisions, or what everyone envisions 15 years from now. So just say hypothetically, money's no object, and
Right.
it's all open wide. What would you like to see? Services, places, resources in 15 years in our community? And I just think even having that discussion is great foresight, because some people, some offices, they think they're at it alone, and no, it takes a village to
Definitely.
raise a child.
Yes.
I joke about my family, but also to help make a community grow. No one elected official, no one can do it alone. And if you've got great minds, there's no reason not to reach out and tap all of that. And that's what really this morning's meeting was about. So I left feeling invigorated,
That's good.
excited about Rock Hill and York County, and what, and I live over in Lancaster County, and what's all going on here, and what's going to keep people and bring people.
Well, and that's the other thing too. People associate CN2 maybe with just Rock Hill, but you guys really cover a large area. I mean, you cover Lancaster and Indian Land, and Fort Mill.
We cover the Tri-County, and York, Lancaster, and Chester are always on our radar. And again, I live in Indian Land. Lucas lives in Rock Hill. We have folks up in Fort Mill. I mean, people are really scattered throughout. But a lot of what people, I hope, would keep in mind, and it's the same thing in your business, is everyone out there really is our eyes and ears. So, what doesn't help us is if you call us the next day and say, hey, why weren't you at this event? It's
Right.
better if you tell us a day or a week before about an event going on, and we'll do the best job we can to get out there. And we're really well connected, and we have a lot of great sources out there, but it can always grow. And, we have only so many reporters who can only make so many beat calls in the morning and kind of be checking in with different things. So if you're even not sure if something's a story, just shoot us an email or call our newsroom and, let us know what's going on, and we can make some calls on it. That's really the way we know about all these stories. All that water cooler chat that people are, did you hear about such and such? Well, we would love to know about it.
Right.
Let us know.
Right, and so they can call the newsroom, they can email you, or they can go on Facebook, right?
All three, we love.
Yeah.
All three we love.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing that I really like about the whole team is that everybody really is approachable. I mean, from the get-go, the first time we met Allison, it was like, then we were running into her around town.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
and it's funny because I think that's when you start to realize what a sort of small community in a good way. I don't mean tiny, but just
Right.
how connected everyone really is.
Yeah.
So, we feel that way too. We go out and we MC these wonderful events, and you start to see familiar faces, and it's so nice. And I really wish, one thing I'd really encourage is there's so many wonderful events that are going on throughout that people just need to get engaged.
Yeah.
Just get out and check out these things. If we tell you about an event, we do this Hometown Tourist on Thursday. Trey lets everyone know what's going on that weekend. Just go out and try a new event that you haven't been to, because you'll get to maybe explore a new part of the county, and you might love it.
Right.
Support the local business. All of it ties together. It
Shop
really is
local.
true. Yeah, it really is true.
Yeah.
No, we
We
feel
have
really
everything.
fortunate to have really kind of, in a way, stumbled upon where we landed. TV, my husband and I met in West Texas at our first TV jobs, and we lived
They like big hair there.
Yes, it fit in beautifully. I really did. Big hair, big jewelry, loud jackets. So a number of years there, and then we moved to West Virginia, and, Keith got picked up at the ABC affiliate in Charlotte. I'm married to weatherman Keith Monday. Meteorologist, I guess, is the
That's
official
right.
title. He went to school for
Get
it.
it
I
right,
should
get
give
it
it.
right.
Yep, I should. So the weatherman is my baby's
That's
daddy.
her man. The weatherman is her man.
So, he got a job up in Charlotte, and I started looking around and to see what opportunities were here. And now we've had a young son since we've been here, and Lucas and his wife have had a little one in the last year or two. So our families are kind of growing along with the community and the show.
And you and Lucas, you both started at the station at the same time? Is that what you said,
Well,
5
it's
years ago?
interesting. Lucas started his career at CN2 out of college. So that was before I ever got there. And
Okay.
he, I think, weaved his way in even through the sales department. He was like me. Whatever job came, you were going to take
Right.
to get your foot in the door. And he was a reporter for a number of years. And then he got a job with WIS in Columbia. And he was down there for 4 years. And when I got hired here at CN2, I was able to pull him back, which was
Okay.
great. And so we've been a really, I think, neat team, and we enjoy each other and joke we're each other's work wives and husbands, and look forward to going to work every day, which is a great thing. So we together anchoring next year will come up on 5 years together, which is crazy too to
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah.
But that's sort of the interesting thing about television. There's no right way to go about this business. Excuse me. And so Lucas has done his whole career in South Carolina. As has Allison, right? And she went to Winthrop, and she's from here,
Winthrop,
from
great.
Columbia, yeah. And I was all over the map. I grew up in New Jersey, New York. I went to college in Indiana. My first job was in radio in New York City, and my first TV job was in Lubbock, Texas. And you can imagine, I'm on the 40th floor of the Viacom building in Times Square, and I'm telling these people I'm going to Lubbock, Texas. And I land in a cotton field. And it was the best decision I ever made.
Wow.
So, and then since then, like I mentioned, there's been a number of other stops on our journey. So that's what's sort of crazy about TV news is you
Right.
do start small. I was from the New York City area. I wasn't going to start on here there and shouldn't have.
Right.
You want to make your
Yeah,
mistakes.
it's a tough
elsewhere.
market to break into.
Yeah. So you can do behind the scenes stuff, and I was doing that. But for me to get my TV break, Lubbock, Texas was my big TV break.
Right.
And it was. It was the start of a great journey for me, and that happened to be where I met Keith too. Who knew?
Who knew?
Yeah.
It was in the plan.
I was drawn to the weatherman. I was deathly afraid of tornadoes. I said, "You better call me first before you alert the world."
That's right. It's all
too
worked
funny.
out. And we're so thrilled.
As large as the media business may seem sometimes, it's just you always run into somebody who knows somebody that you may have worked with. It's just
Right.
That's how it works. So what's so nice about this 20 years that we're reconnecting with the people that were the first faces of CN2 to see where they are and see what they're doing now. And
Well,
so
can
it's
you give us a little snippet of what people might find out about the former talent? What are they doing now?
Yeah.
Can you tell us
The
something?
first anchor, Bethany Kaiser, I reached
Okay.
out to, and when I shot her an email, and not sure if I had the right address or what, and I didn't hear back. So I thanks to goodness knows Facebook and LinkedIn. You can hardly not find people these days. There's a few that we've been a little more challenged
Right.
with, but so I just called her at the office. I saw on LinkedIn who she worked for. I called the company, which was in Ohio, and I asked for her, and I get transferred, and I say, "Here's a little, flash from the past for you. This is Laura Bree Monday. I'm the news director with CN2 News in Rock Hill," and she started laughing. And saying how wild, to hear from you. And when I said we were coming up on 20 years, I mean, she couldn't believe it because she truly was that first face who was hired. And so she's given some neat comments and some different things that people will get to hear, and what she remembered, from back then, and her comments about us now 20 years later. And so that's fun, and we might do a fun 20 things you didn't know about me and Lucas. Still working on that list.
And then there was a
that was great. Yeah,
May-Kay.
Intriguing.
Intriguing.
She emailed in, and she's still in the business producing now. So a lot of people are still staying in the business, and most recently, we've got Diane Gallagher. She's at a TV station in Charlotte. Leslie Draffin, she's down in Louisiana. We've got some folks in Florida. One's in Chicago now. So, I mean, CN2 is really a stepping stone, too, for a lot of people to stay in the business.
Yeah, it certainly can be. And then you've got folks who just love it as the destination. Those who've been doing this for a while, we are happy with what we've found. And I joke I've got the best job in television. So we feel really fortunate to be where we are. And it really is a teaching shop and a learning shop. And we have workshops every year that are called storytelling workshops. And I bring everyone in on a Saturday. And just the fact that they're even willing to come, and excited to come, I think is really telling to the fact that they always want to learn. But even myself, we are always learning in this business. And I think that keeps us excited. There's really nothing better than a heartwarming, touching story that we just sent David Metzel, one of our reporters, up to Washington, D.C. on the honor flight. And he comes back with these incredible stories of these World War II veterans, and he's there as they're touching ground there, and then this incredible welcome home, in Colombia. And there is something about TV pictures that just can't be translated.
Right.
You just sometimes have to see it. And that's the beauty of what we're able to do. And so we feel like we're always learning, and hopefully, the team that we have and continue to have is, people may come and go, but hopefully we'll have enough of some steady faces that people know what they're getting. And they hopefully feel like they're getting really quality TV news.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, well, thanks.
Of course they do. It's quality all the way.
Quality and fabulous.
It's fabulous.
Fabulous.
So let's just recap now. It's 20 days of giveaways, which is underway. And so people need to participate by going on Facebook, liking your Facebook page, first of all.
Yeah, that's right. And then that day's giveaway, they just need to like that link. They need to like Facebook's, our CN2 Facebook page, as well as Comporium's Facebook page. And that's one way to do it, but we realize not the entire world, while most of it may not be on Facebook.
Right.
For those who aren't, you could also just email us at the address news@cn2.com and say you'd like to be entered in that evening's giveaway. And hopefully,
So you could do it every day.
Yeah. And hopefully they've tuned in that day and they see what we're giving away. And I just like saying 20 days of giveaways. I don't know what I'm going to do in November.
You're going to have to come up with something else.
Yeah. I like
So
the
you
little
announce it
catchphrases.
at the 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so at 6 o'clock, when our first newscast rolls throughout the month, we'll be telling people what that giveaway is. And, of course, it's the same newscast that loops about every half hour. So whenever you catch it, if that giveaway interests you, just, let us know, and you'll be entered for your chance to win. And then as some of the folks have been coming to pick up their prizes, we might snap a picture or go with them on that hot air balloon ride. There are some neat things.
Nice.
I know. I've never done that. Have you? My active with Allison? She
I've been
does
into hot air
everything.
balloon rides, and the view is spectacular. Actually, if you're interested, the Statesville Hot Air Balloon Festival is going on this weekend. So,
I've seen one in New Mexico, and Keith made me wake up so early, but it was worth it because because they light these things in the dark. Or maybe it was night. I think it was early when they light them, and it's still dark. It's the neatest thing to
and
sort
they
of
launch
see.
in the early morning or the late afternoon simply because of the weather.
Yeah,
right.
So, but it's spectacular.
And what's so fun, really, about our jobs in general, and there's a lot, that makes us do what we do. But Allison's sort of a great example of really taking advantage of what some of these opportunities are. So not only do you get to meet incredible people and go to interesting places, but you can jump in if you want to. And
she does.
She and Lucas jump in.
Allison does those runs where she's covered in mud.
Mud.
I don't know what kind of run it is, but
there is mud involved.
There's mud
sometimes
involved.
Fire. Yeah, do not do this at home.
yeah, I remember that one picture where it looks like she's jumping over fire.
know. That
She's
was
a rock
I was
star.
like, holy
fun.
cow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. As a reporter, you can get really involved in your stories. And, Caroline Fountain, she does a great job at that, too. And myself and Mia Macy, a photographer, David Metzel, Jeremy Winder, Rob Jones. We're just name dropping some of our folks over at CN2.
Good.
Yeah.
We love them. Love working with them.
Yeah.
Good
Trey
group.
Maggio yesterday did a hometown hero on a man who turned 100 recently. And you start delving into people. You sort of know they're an interesting character, and you might not know much about them. Well, as it turned out, he was part of the creation of like radar and sonar, and of course he's a veteran, and you just sometimes have to talk to people. And really, at the end of the day, I give tours to a lot of kids that come through and different things, and I'll say, how was your day? And they'll answer these questions, and I'll say, you're being a reporter. When your parents ask you about your day, and you're telling them a little bit about your day, that's being a reporter. Just hold up a pen, that's your microphone. And really what we need to do, just as individuals, if it weren't our job, is just listen more to people.
Yeah.
Just ask questions and listen. And if you really open your ears, it's remarkable what you hear. It really is. People have wonderful stories to share. And, we
They
get
do.
to tell just some of them.
Our next door neighbor, Woody, he was a prospector. He was educating on us about how this was like the gold rush was here. This was like the first place. And so he was a prospector for years.
Isn't that interesting?
Very cool.
So when you hear
Cool
about those
people.
cool stories, just let us know about them. Yeah, absolutely.
Always good stuff.
We wouldn't be able to do our jobs as, quote, talent people without the folks behind the scenes. People
Right.
see us every day, but there's, 5 more people behind the scenes that are never seen that
Right.
work just as hard as we do to get that product on air. And
Right.
Chris Roberts, he's been our director for quite some time now. Tyler, he helps do audio. I mean, it's great what they come in and do each night.
Yeah, it really is a team effort, and you see these faces. You might see me and Lucas, and then our reporters. But that's sort of the beauty of TV is there's a lot of jobs now as the economy and different things and the industry changes. More and more people have to be able to do more and more things.
Right.
I joke in our shop. If somebody says whose job is this, the answer is probably you. I'm and if you don't know how to do it, let's learn so that next time we can be the one to jump in. But everyone who can still do everything, really does have their specialties, and you can't do it without. Half those buttons in the control room. Okay, let's be honest. All of those buttons in the control room, I don't know what to do with. If it weren't for our director, punching us up, nobody would ever, see us or hear us.
Right. Well, if you could have anything, like you had mentioned, the mayor of Rock Hill had thrown that out there, if money was no object. So in the next 20-year span, what would you like to see if money was no object?
Oh my
what
goodness.
is there like a piece of equipment or some kind of technology that you guys?
She's putting me on the spot. Allison just said
Yes.
lights, but we actually have those in our budget, so that we don't have to
Lights?
wait 20 years for those.
Studio lights?
Yeah, lighting
Yeah.
is a nice thing when people
Yeah.
say, "Oh, you're so much prettier in person."
Yeah.
You sometimes wonder, let's talk about that lighting. No, but again, we have a great support system, and they've that is coming our way. I think more for me, it really is the quality of the product. And
Right.
so as long as strong storytelling, which really is my passion, is what continues, I will be very proud of the shop as it sort of ventures forward.
Right.
How much it'll grow or different things kind of does depend, like, on the support of the community and different things like that. And we just, hope that we add some positive energy out there,
Yeah.
for the folks who live here and are generous enough to invite us into their homes every night.
Yeah, that's very good because that I'm with you. That's what it's all about, promoting the positive. If you promote the good, more good will come.
You need people around you who lift you up,
Yes.
and hopefully our newscast does that. We want people to leave us
Yeah.
maybe a little more informed. Maybe they laugh. Maybe we think we're funny and we're not. I don't know, but we laugh, and you want people to feel lifted. And I feel that way about the people that I hire. I
Right.
want to bring in positive energy on the people that are in my life. You just if life's too short.
That's
all the time.
right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, we are so pleased that the two of you could come. Maybe next time Lucas
Yes,
will come. But we're very excited about your 20-year milestone. That's a big deal.
Oh, well, thank you
Big
for
deal.
acknowledging it and for having us on to your program. And it really is our pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. So we want to remind everyone again, the Facebook page is
CN2 Rock Hill. So
CN2
just put in
Rock Hill.
CN2 Rock Hill and
Okay.
like us, and that's a great way to stay up on what's happening in the community and to just stay connected and be part of the team.
That's right. And remember, 20 days giveaway.
Fun to say.
And then, it is. And then the 25th and the 26th of this
Of
month,
October,
it's
yep.
going to be a special
Yeah, we're going to have
program.
specials those days. So on the 25th, there'll be a neat celebration at our station, and you'll get to see some of those early shows and some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. And then on the 26th, will be that big final, big giveaway.
The
prize.
grand
The
finale.
grand finale. I
Drum
know.
roll.
Yeah. So
Yay.
it really is really exciting.
Okay, very good. And remember, tune in and you could possibly win 20 months of free cable.
That's right.
I mean, that's almost 2 years. Yeah, I can calculate
Well, here we
that.
are. We're back at the math thing.
Yeah,
We saw how this whole show started. I'm not saying a word.
that's right. And we're going to end with that. Thanks again. Well, that was wonderful, as it always is when we get to be entertained by the fabulous CN2 crew.
I always like it when we interview the interviewers, the people that are used to interviewing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting to kind of flip it, take it
We
and turn
flip it. Very good. So again, we want to thank Providence Chiropractic for sponsoring this here podcast, and we want to remind everyone to go to their grand opening celebration this coming Saturday between 11 and 3 for some free food, a bouncy house for the kids, games, music, and much more. And that's at 3071 Highway 21 right here in Fort Mill. And their phone number.
I was going to say their phone number is 803-835-0444.
Yeah, and also they have a website. You can go to providence-chiropractic.com. So again, thanks again, Providence Chiropractic, for sponsoring today's podcast. And thanks for listening. Check us out at fortmillmag.com.
Twitter, Facebook.
And join in the fun
Yeah, and we will see you next week.
next time.